So what is happening in Daraa right now? Daraa is the southernmost part of Syria, bordering Palestine and Jordan. And it's significant because this is where the Syrian revolution began. In late 2010, when the Arab Spring was in full force, a group of schoolboys decided to write anti-regime slogans on the wall of their school. They basically wrote, "It's your turn next, doctor." By doctor, they were referring to Bashar al-Assad, who has a degree in ophthalmology. What ended up happening was Bashar's security forces came, arrested the boys, ripping off some of their fingernails, torturing them, and even killing one of them. And this was the beginning of the Syrian revolution. The Syrian revolution continued, and mass protests broke out all across Syria. Most of Daraa was freed. In late 2018, with a Russian intervention, things changed. The regime began to take back areas, and the bombing campaigns were so heavy that many of these regions could no longer hold out. The people of Daraa decided to make a deal. They agreed that some of those people would leave on green buses to the north of Syria, to Idlib, and the others, the majority, would stay, but the majority of the regions of Daraa would keep their autonomy. The Syrian regime would raise its flag once again, instill some checkpoints, but not get involved in the affairs of the local people and their tribal systems. Sadly, the peace didn't last long, and the Syrian government went back on their word. They slowly began to infringe on all of the freedoms and the rights that the people of Daraa had fought hard for, arresting prominent people in the community. When people would visit other provinces like Hama or Damascus, they would just simply disappear. The icing on the cake was when Bashar al-Assad finally announced that he would be running for president once again, and that elections would be taking place inside Daraa. The people of Daraa were incensed, and when the ballot boxes arrived, they took them into the streets in Daraa al-Balad, the old city of Daraa, and they burnt them. After this act of defiance, the Syrian regime was incensed. They had been trying to sell to the international community that the majority of Syria was now back under their control. The Syrians, the Russians, and the Iranians all had to do something. So they decided to attack Daraa al-Balad, which is the old city of Daraa, and the people became besieged. The people of Daraa had no choice but to defend themselves, and most of their weapons, heavy weapons, had been handed over to the regime in 2018. The reality right now is that Daraa al-Balad and many other areas in the province of Daraa are currently besieged and facing heavy bombardment. Children are being killed right now as we speak. Guys, we need to raise awareness, as much awareness as possible, because Daraa is bleeding right now. And as we know, this evil regime will stop with no measures. It doesn't care if it will murder and massacre as many people, women and children, to achieve its aims. Share this video, like, and please follow live updates from Syria.